Alright everybody, welcome back to another episode of Best Brew Ever. I'm really excited about this one. Like we were talking about at the end of the last episode, we're doing a Walking Dead Pale Ale. Now it's one beer that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've seen it on the Brewing Supply website. And I don't know why I've never done it. I just, whatever reason. But now is the time. Unfortunately, I didn't plan well, and the season is actually almost over. So hopefully we'll at least be able to sample the beer on the last episode of the season. But if not, it's still going to be a great beer. Also, in this episode, we're going to do a little mini review on the Magical Mild that we did in the last episode. Unfortunately, like a lot of these beers, the keg gets kicked before I get to show it to you, so I think I only have maybe a still shot, or I don't know what I have. Whatever I have, let's roll it right here. And there it is. It's not much. Always the end, the last beer, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do the review on this one, and then it's just done. But at least we got a little bit there. With this beer, it was a mild. I'm not real knowledgeable about mild as far as, you know, having drank many of them. As far as I know, I probably had like maybe a handful, if any. I don't even know. But this one, you gotta understand, it was made to be a fast beer, to go from grain to glass in a week, and that's what we did. So it didn't have time to mature in the keg, condition, let a lot of the yeast fall out, and let some of that maltiness come out. And I'm not really sure if milds are really meant to be overly malty anyway. I think they were meant to pretty much do what I did, is get something out there for the patrons and the pubs as kind of a cheap beer, just to give people something to drink. I don't think they were really meant to be aged and really have like this crazy flavor profile. But I did notice toward the end of that keg that I could tell some more maltiness coming out. I don't think it would have made a big difference if I would have, left it in the secondary longer, or even put it in the secondary, and then, left it in the keg for a long time. I don't think we would have gotten a big flavor difference. It was kind of watery almost. But it wasn't big on body. But of course, this wasn't an all grain. I mean, it did have some steeping grains in it, but this was an extract beer, so you're not really gonna get a lot of body out of an extract unless you put some dextrin in it. And I can't remember if we did on this one or not. But I mean, overall, it's better than drinking some of the macro beers. It still had flavor. For the price, I think it was like $30 for that kit. I probably wouldn't want to pay $30 for that beer. It was, like I said, it was all right. It's just, like I'm saying, not. It didn't drive me crazy. It didn't blow my mind. So, but it was definitely drinkable. I didn't drink it like, man, I wish I didn't have this. I mean, it was, obviously I kicked the keg, but it was a low alcohol beer, so it was very sessionable, and it was still enjoyable. I would say I enjoyed it, just not something that is on my mind, saying, man, I got to get another one of those. So that aside, let's get into the main event. The main event is this pale ale, and so I haven't tried it yet. It's still currently fermenting, so hopefully this next episode we will be having a little sample. I can't wait for that. I really have anticipation for it. But before we can even think about that, we got to do a brew day for it. So this is the brew day, the Walking Dead Pale Ale. And make sure you stay tuned until after the brewing segment to see what's coming up next. And I can give you some updates on how that beer is going right now as we speak. So enjoy. Alright, here we are unboxing our kit from Brewling Supply. This is the Walking Dead Pale Ale. This is how it's going to look. Well, this one looked when I took it out of the box here. We got our instructions / notes and ingredients list. Make it very simple for you to understand. And we even have some dry hopping on this one, so kind of pretty much explains everything. And we have our, look at these hops. Look at these hop additions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hop additions on this one. And this is a pale ale. And the hop schedule on this is looking more like an IPA, but I think this is just right off the bat, just from looking at this, it gets me excited to see a beer with this many hop additions. It just shouts flavor to me. You got 60, 15, 10, 5 flame out and a dry hop. And here is the grains, kind of bricked in to the box there, but I mean they're crushed. It's not solid. It's just tightened in the bag there. So let's get brewing. Alright, we're getting our strike water ready. It's 3 gallons, 2 liters about, at 161 degrees. And here we got our strike water in the mash tun, heating up the walls. Here's our grain. We're just going to mash in. I'm just going to dump the whole bag in there, sort it out later. There we go. Mash in. See all that dry grist. We want to get that nice hot water mixed in there. Any dough balls, smash them up. Get it all incorporated. You don't want any dry grains in here. It's all nice and absorbed. That water absorbed into all the grains. So during saccharification rest, it'll convert and give us the sugars that we want. Convert those starches to sugars. Give it a good mix. Make sure you're looking in all the corners, middle, leave nothing out. Try not to pull out your filter in there. Leave that intact, but get all those grains mixed. We're going to check our mash temps. We need it at 151. This thing's really all over the place, but make sure you get it to 151. And now we have got to where we want it. I threw the towel over for saccharification rest, hold it in, hold the temp in where I want it. 60 minutes later, here we are. I heated up, I think it was about 3 gallons of water to 170 to our sparge water, doing a batch sparge. Just to preheat the grains, and we're going to mix it all up to get all those sugars in suspension. And also, you know, we need the more waters for our volume. Mix, make sure not to disturb that that filter in there. Leave that intact. But we're gonna mix it all up, all the grain that has been settled. We're gonna get all that up in suspension, and then we're gonna do our Vorloff, and then run out the sugary water. Now we're doing our Vorloff, set all that grain bed, help keeping, you know, get our clear wort, keep all the husks and things, dry pieces in the mash. And after I recirculated that, I taking the runnings, I'm filling up the gallon pitchers here, and this time I just take them outside. Look at that, that's a nice color. And until I get the volume that I want, until I got my volume, I think it's about 6 gallons. I got the rolling boil. I'm doing my first edition hops. It's 60 minutes with 0.49 ounces of Warrior. Now that we're waiting for our last 15 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and look at all these additions. I got them spread out here, waiting in line for their turn. It's gonna be a great beer, I can already tell. It's looking good. So the last 15 minutes, we got a 1/2 ounce Centennial. Pop them right in there. Boom. Get everything out of there. You can kind of see the hops breaking apart. Last 10 minutes, we got a 1/2 ounce Citra. Bam! Once again, I mean, you gotta imagine the fragrance. Last 5 minutes, another 1/2 ounce Citra. Kinda didn't want to get out of that one. Let's go. Looking good, smelling great. Now we have flame out. Flame out, what are we doing? Another 1/2 ounce of Centennial. Knock it in there like a Gatling gun. And you got all those hop additions steeping in there. It smells great. But now we got to get it down to yeast pitching temperature. So with my leaky hose, which I covered with a rag so I don't get any water in there, running cold water in to the wort chiller. Hot water's coming out, and I'm just gonna kind of clean up my fermenter here. I got the Croizen ring I'm about to get off, and you know, just trying to reuse this water. And here we are. We got it down to yeast pitching temperature. I'm taking a gravity reading. I don't know how much it affects it because there is a ton of hops still in here, and that's why it looks like milk. But it was 1050. It's supposed to be 1056, so we're a little under gravity we were shooting for. And because I didn't have any muslin bags, I have to try to filter all this hops through my one hop bag that I have here, which was a nightmare, and I will never do this again. Because you see how we have all this wort that is exposed and could, you know, get wild yeast in there and affect our beer and be a waste. So never do that again. Now that I got the volume that I want, I think it was 6 gallons, 5.5 gallons. Go ahead with my rehydrated yeast, pitch that, and that's it. We got our make sure everything's sanitized. We got the sanitized lid. Unscrew that one on. We got the sanitized airlock, putting sanitizer in it also. And sanitized lid. Even though it's on the outside, I sanitize everything. Why not? Over sanitize. And that's it. That's our Walking Dead Pale Ale. Can't wait. Alright, there it is. We got it in the fermenter. The Walking Dead Pale Ale. It's much anticipated. And like I said, I'm going to give you some updates on how that beer is going right now. I gotta say, you know, the first week is when, you know, things start to get going, fermenting, and I don't know about you, but I always like to give a kind of smell of the top of the airlock. That CO2 brings out some smells, and it's not always what the beer is going to taste like. You know, a lot of times it's what the type of yeast you're using, how it reacts to things. I mean, there's some yeast that get off a lot of sulfur, and there's different yeasts that do different things. With this one, with such a hop schedule as you've seen, you know, with the Citra and Centennial, those are more kind of fruity and citrus type hops. I'm not sure about the Warrior, what kind of profile that has, hop profile that has, but just with, you know, that amount of tropical fruitiness, that's what I got out of the CO2 coming out of the airlock. And man, I'm just telling you, just the smell alone, if it tasted anything like that fruity CO2 smell that I was getting out of that, my goodness, it smells great. I was very excited and very happy that I made this beer, and I definitely think I'm gonna make it, you know, in future beers to come. You know, I think it was about $30 for that, which is, I mean, it's worth it to have a good beer. You know, it has to be worth it to you. So with that, as you've seen, there was I think it was like 1.5 ounces of dry hops of some more Citra and Centennial, and unfortunately the fast ferment, I couldn't get the lid off. I had that problem last time after I had kegged the beer. Same problem with this time. You know, I was supposed to dry hop. I couldn't get the lid off. It's just stuck. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I was thinking about dry hopping in the keg, but you know, I got another beer to make, and I only have one hop bag, which is my fault. I probably should get some more hop bags and muslin bags and all that, but I just don't have it right now. So I might just go ahead and skip the dry hopping. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm fairly sure, without even tasting this beer, that I'm going to make it again. So, you know, it'll give me a kind of a comparison with dry hopping without dry hopping. So this 1.5 ounces, I'm just going to save and throw in, figure out a beer somewhere, and I'll throw it in there. But I think the beer, regardless of the dry hopping, I think the beer is going to be great. So, you know, like I said, I'm really excited. It's been 2.5 weeks in the fermenter, so I mean, we're right there getting ready to keg and drink. So you know, stay tuned. I think in the next episode, most likely we'll have that. And in our next episode, we are going to do a beer that I have been planning for a little bit, because here in Indiana, I believe is the December 11th, I believe, is the Indiana's bicentennial, and I figured, hey, you know, let's make a beer for it. And you know, I tried to plan it out to where it would be done by the 11th, but that's not going to happen. Things fell through, other things came up, other beers came up, so I will be brewing it this weekend, but I don't want to rush it. I don't want to. I'm just going to try to. I want some full flavor on this one, even though it's going to be a cream ale, which I know I already did a cream ale before, but I changed up the hops on this one. So we'll see how it comes out. I wanted, like I said, I wanted to have it by the bicentennial day, but if I drink it anytime this year, it'll be within the bicentennial. So I think I'm gonna more likely have some for Christmas to take, go with family and things and see how they like it. Family is really the biggest critics. They'll let you know straight up how if it's good or not. So I'm looking forward to that. And then beers to come. I think we're gonna try to. I want to say cut corners, but I don't want to. It's not really cutting corners. I'm not cutting corners on sanitizing or anything like that. But just ingredients wise, I want to try to make full flavored beers for cheaper than these kits or things that people say. Well, you're not making good beer because you're not using all grain, or you're not using. I'm actually thinking about using more table sugar to get fermentables. But I still want to keep flavor in there. So, and it's getting colder out, and actually my garden hose is broken, so I'm not going to be able to do all grains as much, and do the boils outside, and my wort chiller. My hose is broken, so I can't connect it outside. So unfortunately I know a lot of people kind of look down on extracts, but I'm going to be doing extracts for until it gets warmer outside, until I can figure out something. I might try to sneak in some all grains here or there. I really do want to do some more all grains, but I think for the next, I don't know how many episodes, it's going to be some extracts. But I mean, for people who are just getting into brewing, I mean, this is going to be more for those people, or people who still are still doing extracts. People want some time savers. People check these episodes out. They're going to be hopefully make some good beers out of them, and I want to see if I can make good flavorful beer for under around $20 or less. I mean, that would you get about 50 beers or so out of a 5-gallon batch. So pennies on the beer. So I mean, that's really not all where I'm going with this. I still want to make some big flavorful beers. I don't mind spending a little bit more money to get this really cool full flavored beers, like with and we're still going to think of some rich flavorful beers to come up with ourselves, or get them off homebrewing websites. But at the same time, like I said, I want to keep some. I want some to kind of rush through and get on tap and keep on tap. And at the same time, I want some that's going to be more flavored and let them hang out a little bit more, so I can do kind of do both. So that's really what we're looking to in the future. And like the whole challenge was to see if I could brew my own beer without buying any beer to bring in the house. And so far I've done that. So far I've been successful. It's been close. Around Thanksgiving was I had some trouble where I didn't think I was going to have any beer to drink, but you'll see in future episodes. And I'm not sure where I'm going to put this in, because my brewing and recording and editing and posting are not exactly in sync with each other. That's, a lot of it's where I want to put this beer, that beer ahead of the other. So I might actually, in that next episode, I think in the next episode I'll probably go ahead and show that fast beer. I did a fast beer just to get something to drink for Thanksgiving. So and I might mix it with, I might show 2 brew days in one. I might do the Centennial and the fast beer. I'm not really sure yet. I might just brew the Centennial and do the review on it the same episode. I don't know. That might be a little confusing, but we'll see how we work this out, because I'm confused myself. So that's it. I really appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate the subscribers and the thumbs up. That's always very appreciated. And you know, this whole thing is kind of an experiment, and just to see how well I can be in brewing, home brewing, and get better and all around and everything. I feel like I'm getting better. I'm going to be getting some more equipment, brewing equipment in the future. So I might do some, show you some of that footage. I just got a lot of stuff to record and post. So I'm having fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I think, you know, through showing this, I'm going to teach myself a lot. I'm going to learn a lot. And, you know, hopefully if anybody out there is learning themselves, you know, everything I do is not, you know, set in stone that this is the way you do it. But, you know, if you can kind of say, yeah, I mean, I see he messed up on this, or yeah, that was a good idea. I mean, I do that with, you know, people I see on these brewing channels. So, you know, feel free, take what you can from this and leave the rest if you want. It's fine. But I appreciate everybody out there, and I can't wait till the next episode to show you what we got. So until then, Sam, best brew ever.